Stop it. Get some help. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy December 21st, and welcome to your horror advent calendar. Yesterday we had a less than enthusiastic recommendation of The Open House. Let's see if I feel a little better about today's recommendation. That's right, day 21, we're going with the Christmas classic, feel-good holiday movie, Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut. If you are unfamiliar, Eyes Wide Shut is a movie that came out in 1999 and was directed by Stanley Kubrick, who we are now calling the King of Christmas, as this is his second appearance on the horror advent calendar. But let's get a little context going. Let's dive into the Letterboxd summary and see what this movie's all about. Cruise, Kidman, Kubrick. After Dr. Bill Harford's wife Alice admits to having sexual fantasies about a man she met, Bill becomes obsessed with having a sexual encounter. He discovers an underground sexual group and attends one of their meetings, and quickly discovers that he's in over his head. The long and short of this movie really is Tom Cruise learns that his wife has sexual desires that go beyond his knowledge, and it just sends him into a psychotic break of sorts, and he just roams the New York City streets till 4 a.m., wandering into sex parties, just so desperate to have sex with anyone who isn't his wife. So Eyes Wide Shut generally has a good reputation, I think. If we look on Letterboxd, it has an average rating of 3.9 out of 5 stars. I am somewhat ashamed to admit I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really liked this movie. I liked it a lot. And I'm kind of bummed about that because I'm starting to realize I think I just like Stanley Kubrick movies. I don't want to. I hate him. But I mean, his movies are just good. There's no way around it. I wish there were. So, I love this movie. There's a lot of things I love about it. I'm realizing a lot of it is kind of similar to the reasons I love The Shining. Like, the biggest thing I love about this movie is the atmosphere. I love the choices he made with different lighting. There's all kinds of really cool neon lighting casting glows over all the scenes that I think is awesome. The atmosphere of the orgy scene is incredible, I think. Now, I personally don't think orgies are inherently scary. We are a sex-positive channel here. We love orgies. But this orgy is really scary. Everyone's wearing these full-face masks, which definitely adds to it. And we have this big, tall, lurch-looking guy standing in the middle chanting. There was just something about the pitch of the chanting and the repetitiveness of the low singing that was going on that really creeped me out. Also, this is something that's more of a piece of fun trivia than anything else, but in the orgy scene, you'll notice these CGI people in the scene. They're always turned away from the camera, they're really close to the camera, and they're blocking most of the sexual act that is happening on screen. And this was purely a ratings thing. It was just because they didn't want the movie to get rated NC-17, and the way it was, they wouldn't give it an R rating. So they put in these CGI people to cover up the most explicit of the sexual acts to get them that rating they wanted. But I really think it works in their favor because the CGI people just look so creepy. I doubt I can put any clips of that in because there's a lot of orgy going on in the periphery. But suffice to say, these creepy little alien-looking CGI people just really add to the whole atmosphere. And I swear, the orgy wasn't the only thing I liked about this movie. I just really liked this movie as a whole. I have a lot to say about the orgy, so I'm talking a lot about the orgy. But the performances overall are really good. Tom Cruise is another guy, he's like, I don't want to like him, but he's really good at his job, so artist. We're separating those today. He's great in this movie. Nicole Kidman is great in this movie. There's a bunch of character actors in this movie who are all so good. And it's really just structured so well. I think my favorite thing is how they show the passage of time through Tom Cruise losing money. Like, he starts out the night with this fat wallet full of cash, but then he keeps getting himself into these little predicaments and uses cash to get out of it, and by the end of the night, he hardly has a penny to his name. Well, that's not true. He's still a very wealthy doctor in New York City, but he has less money in his wallet than when he started. There is also just a lot of bonkers trivia about Eyes Wide Shut, which is something I really like. Like, I don't know if it still holds the record, but at the time, it had the record for longest production in the history of movie making. They shot for something like 400 continuous days. And like, just imagine that. Like, I think that's such fun trivia, but it's also some of the shit that makes me so mad about Stanley Kubrick. Like, why? Why are you doing that? Why are you taking a scene that's 10 minutes long and spending 3 weeks shooting it? I'm not being dramatic, that's something I read. 3 weeks on one scene. Get a life. And even though the whole movie is set in New York City, Stanley Kubrick had such a phobia of flying that they filmed the whole thing in London and built New York City streets to make it look like they were in New York rather than fly to New York and shoot on location. I just can't believe this movie is real. So much about it sounds fake or like it shouldn't have happened, but it's real, and I'm very glad because I like it a lot. But don't you worry, I still found some things that I don't like about it. Perhaps predictably, the movie is somewhat sexist. In a kind of unfortunate way, Nicole Kidman's character seemed somewhat like a non-character for a lot of the movie. Like, she was only around to give Tom Cruise's character this realization to send him on this journey, whereas I thought the movie was more about the two of them as a couple. But it's about Tom Cruise, it's not about both of them. Fair play, underused Nicole Kidman, I could never. And running back to the orgy scene for just a moment, every single woman at the orgy is butt-ass naked, and there's like maybe 5 naked guys, which isn't even me being the angry feminist that I usually am. That's just impractical. Like, what are you doing at an orgy with your clothes on? We do get a sprinkling of naked men throughout as Tom Cruise is leaving the orgy, but a definite imbalance. Oh, also, you probably know this, but just in case you don't, if you're at all sensitive to nudity, there's a whole lot of nudity in this movie. We see every inch of the human body. Except for a penis. Hey! Okay, but different discussion for a different day. As for the festive levels of this movie, Eyes Wide Shut is a lot more Christmassy than you'd ever think it is. We got Christmas trees tucked into every little corner, Christmas lighting, Christmas decoration in the bars. It's Christmas. It's a Christmas movie. I don't make the rules. Well, actually I do, because I picked all these movies, but Eyes Wide Shut, certified Christmas movie.
Nice tree.
But I would love to hear your thoughts on Eyes Wide Shut, whether this is a first-time watch for you like it was for me, or if you've seen it hundreds of times. Maybe not hundreds of times, that's kind of a lot of times to see Eyes Wide Shut, because this movie is nearly 3 hours long, which is something I did not know when I embarked on my first watch. A somewhat unpleasant surprise. But let me know what you think. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I will see you tomorrow.